The Virginia Lottery's Live and Lucky with Luke Combs Scratcher and online game each give you a chance to enter to win a ticket to Nashville for a private Luke Combs concert, plus a chance to win $500,000 at the show. Pick up a $5 Live and Lucky with Luke Combs Scratcher at your local lottery retailer or play online. Plus, the online game gives you a chance to enter too. Winners will be flown to Nashville to watch Luke perform at the iconic Ryman Auditorium. For odds, game, and prize information, visit VALottery.com/livinglucky. Play responsibly.
It's time for the BAQA. The BAQA. What you say? The BAQA with Mandi. The BAQA with Tiffany. The BAQA. It's Brown Ambition question and answers. You have questions. We have some of your answers, although we are not your mama, your cousin, we are your digital friends, but we're not your attorney, your financial advisor, not your doctor, we're just two really smart, adorable brown girls who, we just give some advice here and there, but it's meant to be taken with a grain of salt and for you to lean into the professionals that you pay. Did you see that there was a message, Mandi, from a Brown Ambition listener who's an attorney who was asking us some financial question, but she was like, sidebar, I love your disclaimer as an attorney.
Listen, thank you, because we were born yesterday.
Girl.
Know enough to know how not to get sued.
Exactly. All right, so we typically take about 2 questions. Last week we had my friend Jason on, Happy Money, Happy Life. Go listen to that episode, and BAQA, which he stayed and joined. This week, Mandra is back. So we're going to take 2 career questions. First question is by somebody named Transcendent Teachable Tammy. TTT, 3T. All right, so 3T says, hey, lovely brown ladies. Indeed we are. I recently started listening to your podcast and I love it. I have a few questions. First, Miss Tiffany, do you offer any remote internships? Because I would love to learn and shadow you. Plus, it will help me get hands-on skills for my degree in marketing that I'm currently working towards. Well, I mean, I'm not currently, let's say, looking for internship, but girl, you can always shoot me a message, go to thebudgetnista.com, and there's like a contact me button. You never know. Like, send me like your resume. You never know. I really want to intern with a Black-owned business that I am passionate about supporting, because we do have a position that's open for community support. Like, I'm looking for like a community manager, like community as in like I have my online Facebook group, I have a Mighty Networks group, I have my Patreon group. So I want someone to do that. I don't know if that's something you're interested in, girl. But anyway. Okay. So then my finance question is, how do you bounce back from getting laid off from retail work? I was previously a full-time assistant merchandise manager and visual merchandiser, and now I'm a part-time remote stylist. As I previously mentioned, I'm in college for marketing. I guess I'm asking for tips on how to career change from retail to marketing. P.S. I'm 25, engaged with 2 children, ages 1 and 4, for added context if that helps. 3T.
Girl.
Yes, I know. So actually, this is a really good Mandra question. So
I love it.
Yes.
Also, you lived a lot of life for a 25-year-old.
Girl.
Career transition, babies, engaged. I love that. I mean, honestly, get it done early, right? No, well, first, my heart goes out to you because getting laid off is never something that, it's just something that can set you back and make you feel bad. So just want to acknowledge that it sucks. I'm glad that you've been able to find some part-time work at least. My first question is, my first statement is that I think your question to Tiffany is exactly what my advice would be for you. If there's anyone who's in college or studying a degree, trying to get some kind of internship, either while you're getting your degree or right after, but ideally before you graduate, is hands down the best, because you're going to, just like every new college grad, you're going to go out into the world and you're going to be up against people who have gotten a little bit of work experience, which is going to lead recruiters and hiring managers to look at your resume and say, cool, you have a degree, that's cute, but where's your experience? The good thing is that you do have some professional experience. So, and the fact that you were assistant merchandising manager, I too had a career in retail. I worked for all like Gap, Kohl's. And I know assistant merchandising managers, like there is some marketing aspect that goes into that, because you can select sort of what hits the floor and what's trending and all of that. So I think that you actually are a little bit of ahead because you do have some experience professionally. So, but for you as a marketer, I don't know what like specific kind of marketing you're in, like is it advertising? As a marketer, I would use your resume as your first project. How can you brand yourself and position the experience you have to appeal from someone trying to hire from a marketing role, and internships are amazing. You mentioned you want to intern with a Black-owned business that you're passionate about supporting. There's usually a professional association with like major industries. I know for like me in journalism, there's the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm sure there is the equivalent for like marketing professionals. And the same way that, you're reaching out to Tiffany because you've seen the great work that she does, you can do that for others as well and continue doing this outreach, get your resume polished and then, send them out. That's exactly how I found my virtual assistant. She was like, here's my resume. I'd love to work with you. And have some patience because it may take a while to find the right fit, but don't stop the hunt, I would say, for a good internship just to get that additional experience on your resume. Let me think. And in the meantime, do the work that you need to do to make your, pay your bills. And as a remote stylist, like again, that can be something you can put on your resume. And maybe you'll be able to segue into a career that includes some retail or fashion element, because whenever you're pivoting, like from one sector to the next, I like to find like a commonality or something that can be the bridge. And I feel like for you, that could be your experience in retail and merchandising and maybe fashion. So an agency or a company that dabbles in that world or deals in that world, they would look at your resume and that may appeal to them. Like, oh, she doesn't have exactly this experience in this, what we're hiring for, but she has this. Like she understands the merchandise, she understands retail, she understands fashion, etc. Anything to add, Tiff? But that's what I would say for you, Miss Transcendent, Teachable Tammy.
No, I feel like you covered. But to your point, yes, like internship. Like if I'm looking to hire someone for any position, like I'm always looking, like now, like I said, I'm looking for a community manager, and I'd love, if it's not an intern, I'm looking for someone who has community manager experience, ideally. So to Mandi's point, the more experience you can put under your belt, and I would not turn my nose up if the community manager experience was an internship, because it's experience. And so Mandi's right to try to get as much experience under your belt. Because also too, you want to see what you like, like you might work with me and be like, ooh, so I really don't like that. I didn't realize I don't like digital marketing, or I don't like marketing in this capacity. Now I know, so I can start to, it's better to learn, earlier on, so you can pivot to what you do enjoy, than to wait until it's too late. But I think Mandi gave really great advice. So we wish you well, Triple T.
I think about my cousin too, Anna Banana, because she moved in with me a couple of years ago and she has just blossomed, but she is studying healthcare administration, and she was working in restaurants, like doing like waitress hosting jobs. And I was really encouraging her to start looking for a role within like what she wanted to do, which is like she wants to be in the med spa sort of space as an industry and do admin side. And it took her a long time because, of course, she didn't have that experience on her resume, but she did get a job, like I said, at this beautiful spa in our area. And I was like, that's what you need on your resume, even before you graduate, so that by the time you graduate with your healthcare administration degree, like that you're going to have like a double whammy. You're going to have the experience of working in that kind of environment, plus the education. So I think, yep, just reiterating what I said, but I wish you all the best. Squeeze those cute little babies. That's going to be me before soon. I'll have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So if you got any tips, share them with me.
Triple T, you have tips for me?
Oh, Lordy. Maybe be 25 and not 35. So you are not, your body isn't breaking down as you go. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy. All right. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with question number 2. This one's really good, especially for listeners who are more, what do we call, mature, our mature audience.
Seasoned.
Seasoned, yes. All right, BA fam, we are back. I'm doing career questions today for BA Q&A. So excited. This question really hit like a chord for me, struck a chord for me, because a lot of my, like when I branched out as a career coach, Tiff, like I posted on Instagram, is anyone wanting, I didn't even know if I was going to be a career coach. I was like, can I do this thing? So I posted, if anyone wants a free half-hour session, fill out this form. I got 200 responses. And one of the trends that I saw immediately was I was expecting, and I was so happy. I love talking to seasoned women, like women who have had a career, whether they're changing it or they're like maybe 10, 15 years into their career, they're trying to get to that next level or they're trying to pivot. And I was worried that maybe I would attract because people think your career choices happen after college when you're 22. But I know there's so many of us going through like these periods of transition in our 30s, 40s, 50s. And I got so many responses from women in their 40s and 50s. And this question, it just feels like something that, I've talked about with so many women who are, like you said, more seasoned, and they have this fear of ageism and how that can impact you. So, all right, I'll shut up now. But this question is from, what did she say? So discouraged, but not giving up yet in Baltimore. Oh, okay. All right, let me jump in. All right, she says, Mandra and Tiffany, I love your podcast. You're both fabulous. I just graduated from college in 2020 with a BA in English and a specialization in professional writing. It was a culmination of many years of college, off and on. The thing is, I'm 52 years old now and ageism is real. Although I have over 25 years of administrative work experience, no one will give me a chance as a copywriter. I've begun creating my own website to feature some content, but I haven't been consistent with it. I'm thinking that if I get that up and running with some content, that might show potential employers or clients that I do have the skills needed to do well in a role as a copywriter. I'm so very discouraged right now. I mistakenly thought that I would have no problem getting a job in copywriting after I graduated. Mandi, I know that you have been a copywriter. What would you suggest? Not having any internships really has seemed to hurt me. Do I need to go to grad school at my age? And at my age, would that even make sense? How can I, who is really considered oldish, Tiffany always calls herself oldish, but Tiffany, you are definitely not. How can I land a job as a copywriter or content writer? There's many of us who didn't graduate from college in our 20s. I was 50 when I graduated, and now at 52, I still have dreams and goals to go get. Yes, there are so many of us that are 50 and older who have them. I know I'm rambling, so I'll end it here. She's a Tiffany Patreon mentee.
My mentor, Tiffany.com.
And maybe I need to sign up for some coaching for Mandi too. I'm so freaking proud of you both. Oh, you're the sweetest. You two are badasses. Love you both. Okay. Love you too. Wow. Yeah. So first and foremost, amazing of you to, and I know it's so hard, like to finish your degree and to have finished it in 2020 after years of off and on. That's an accomplishment and you should really, really feel proud. But I think what you're running into is exactly, is that the marketplace doesn't necessarily, it may not be about your age. It's about probably the experience on your resume. Like we were just talking about with Tammy in the previous question, not having any clips, like examples of content that you've written professionally could be hurting you. I'm just shocked that you would be able to go through a professional writing program and they wouldn't give you like opportunities to work for or freelance for outlets. Like that's mind-boggling to me. But it looks like that was the case for you. So whatever you can do to get some freelance assignments, I agree. I don't think you need to have like a full fleshed out website, but at least have like a PDF where you have examples of your work. You may, take some lower hanging fruit assignments from outlets that can't pay you amazingly just to start getting some clips. Join Facebook groups for freelance writers. I know when I started out as a journalist, but also I ran a content team of and I worked with 30 staff, but I also had hundreds of freelancers. We needed a lot of freelancers to create our articles and to help edit them. And it's copywriting. Like it's not sexy editorial magazine writing. It's like, what is a mortgage? Like it's technical writing, like what you've been trained to do. We are not the only ones doing that. So I would say one of my favorite ways to recruit freelancers and find them was to go on Facebook groups. There's literally a Facebook group called Binders full of freelance writers. And then what about niching down? Like, is there something, because you probably have lots of work experience that you haven't mentioned here, but do you have any particular knowledge in any like specific subject area? When I niched down and started focusing on finance and career, more opportunities opened up to me because there were fewer of me out there, if that makes sense. Like, it's like Tiffany's analogy, my favorite one, about if I'm on a plane and there's Denzel Washington or a heart surgeon and I have a heart attack, I don't care about Denzel. Like, I want the niche. I want the person who spent 1 million hours in the operating room. Is that did I mess that up?
No, you said it right.
Okay. I'd be listening. So if you can lean on that experience, it's really about like I said to Tammy, like marketing yourself. If you say, okay, I'm just going to make it up. If I've worked in the food and beverage industry for the last 20 years, okay, what food and beverage companies have content needs, who have blogs, who have articles or trade publications, and how can you start pitching yourself to those publications based on your experience? Plus you have a degree as a professional writer. You see, it's like trying to find what makes you special and unique and then pursuing what you want to do through that narrow lens, which I know can sound challenging when like, you're just like, I just want a job. Like, I'll write about lawn care if someone will have me. That's fine. But I do encourage you, especially as a writer, to find your niche and then become indisposable to your clients. If you're willing to do that kind of like esoteric professional writing that's not sexy, but that does make companies a lot of money and helps them sell their services, like I did for so many years, like it's hard to find writers who specialize in some of these like really niche topics. And girl, and we paid well for people who'd write about FHA loans, and they would get into the nitty gritty weeds of like Veterans Association, fine print to find out what are the rates for VA loans and reverse mortgages and like all this stuff. Niche down, niche down, niche down. That's my main tip for you. And beautiful. Like I agree. Like there's so many of y'all who have goals in your 50s. You ain't dead. Honestly, like people like Viola Davis, like. It's no excuse to not be fabulous, I guess, in your 50s and 60s. Anything you would add, Tiff? Got any copywriting needs?
Well, like I'll give you an example. So Logan on my team is my copywriter, but when Logan first came, she worked in like customer support, and she did such a good job. Then she got a promotion to like kind of managing customer support. And then I just said, because when someone does a really good job with me, I like to know, what do you want to do? And she was like, honestly, I love researching, and I've always wanted to learn. She didn't know how to copywrite. So myself and Jabril's also a very good copywriter. We took her under our wing and showed her what we knew. And then she didn't go to school for copywriting, but she took it to the next level. To your point, Mandi, she got really good at like copywriting as it relates to personal finance. And so Logan was really good at it. I think it's going to be important that if you are going to build that website, which I think is going to be helpful, so if someone can click on it and say, here's examples of your writing, make sure it shows that you know how to mimic voice. Because that was really critical. Like there are things when you read, like on my social media, you're like, I know Tiffany said it. 99% of the chance is Logan. So the first year it took her a while to get used to like writing the way I would write it. And I remember there was a transition when she had posted something and I was like, did I write that? Because it sounded so much like me. Just consider that too, as you're, to Mandi's point, yes. They really honed in on financial education, but also showed that like they could do it through the voice of like, a male voice, a female voice, African-American tone, like that would be really helpful to let me know that this is someone who's not just going to write and it's just this generic thing. The real powerful copywriting speaks to the audience that's listening. And so it's not something that everyone can do. Like I know how to speak to my audience, but for Logan to then be me and speak to my audience the way I would, because I've cultivated my audience to listen to the way I speak and speak through written word, that's not easy. So, that's just a little piece of advice is that to show like, and practice your skill set. If it was me, because I love practicing on other people's businesses, I would be copywriting for other people's businesses who have not hired me, not even to submit it. I'd be like, you know what? This is what I do in general. When I see someone's ad or whatever, I redo it. Like
I just did the same thing. I got a really good email and I was like, wait a minute, let me study this.
Yes.
Let me structure this.
Yes. Or like literally if I see a billboard, I'll say, the call to action is not clear. The website's too small. If it was me, I would be copywriting. Like if you see, someone's like, let's just say, for example, mine for like, I don't know, the Patreon, like I don't think we have ads for that. Maybe Literature Academy. And you might be like, you know what? If I was going to rewrite this is how I would do it. So you might want to do that too, is to rewrite people's ads so you can get the practice of what it looks like to successfully write. But yeah, it's especially with new entrepreneurs, all these entrepreneurs most of them don't know how to write. they don't understand that copywriting is a critical component to growing their business. So
not to interrupt or to interrupt, there's like a Harvard or some fancy college research study that just came out saying the number one skill of successful business leaders is writing.
Yes.
Like that's what separates success. And I'm like, wow. Writing is truly like, I couldn't do anything that I do. All the emails, the communication, sharing a clear and concise message. Like you've got the skills, like Tiffany said that. Yeah, I wanted to say that. Yeah. That so many people are like, wait.
Or if, let's just say what would impress me, Mandi, imagine if that you get an email and say, hey, I'm a copywriter, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to write for you. I actually rewrote the email that you just sent. Or I wrote an ad the way I thought. I would be like, wait a minute. I would take it to my team and be like, Logan, this is really good. Let's at least call her in. So if you set me an
but
ad.
My ego would be like, you rewrote my email? Like,
no, but meaning, or even let's just say that we wrote it, I wrote an email that would be similar to something you would send out, or wrote an ad for the Literature Academy. I would be really impressed because I could clearly see how you could fit into my organization. So consider that too, if there are people that you admire, you'd like to work for, to like write an email or an ad or whatever. So they're like, they literally, it's almost like when you're purchasing a home, Mandi, and it's staged, staged homes go for 30% more and are more likely to be sold because you're like, oh, I could use this as a baby room and this could be my office because you can see the things in there versus just this blank canvas. So consider that too. So hopefully this was helpful, you guys. BAQA career segment. If you've got questions about career, entrepreneurship, business, personal finance, you have come to the right place, honey, because me and Mandi be doing all of it. Okay, all of it. And so we are going to share, so if you've got questions, you can hit us up on Brown Ambition Podcast on .com. You can go to brownambitionpodcast@gmail.com and send us an email. You can DM us on Instagram or Twitter. We're the BA Podcast on Twitter, Brown Ambition Podcast on IG. Yeah, send us your questions. We love to get them. And like I said, we do career, business, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. So flood the gates. Also too, Mandi's a mama. You got a mama question? She got some mama answers. You want to talk about hair, child, whatever you want to talk about.
Let us know. And thank y'all as always for your support. Until next week. Bye, BA
Bye,
fam.
y'all.
Hey, BA fam, we could not do this show without your support or the support of our team behind the scenes. The Brown Ambition Podcast is produced by Cumulus Podcast Network. It's edited by the wonderful Imani Crosby and produced by Tanya Bustos. Dennis Stemplinsky is our in-house tech guru, and I am Mandi Woodruff Santos, your co-host, and I will see y'all next week.
You loved Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now get to know her on Give Them Lala.
With her assistant, Jess.
LA, it can become suffocating.
Did something happen where you felt like I have to get out of here, or do you just think it just happens sometimes?
I think it just happens, but also just everything going on in my personal life. Like, I want to get on this mic and be like, this is what I've been dealing with for 14 months.
Give Them Lala, wherever you listen.